Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
Really great to be here.
Yeah, we are just thrilled to have you joining us today because, honestly, the international rugby landscape is shifting right beneath our feet.
It really is. The tactical decisions being made right now are, well, they are nothing short of extraordinary.
Exactly. And before we get into the heavy analysis, if you are as passionate about the nuances of this sport as we are, and you want to ensure you never miss out on these kinds of insights, take a second right now to subscribe to Rugby Obsession.
Absolutely do that.
We absolutely love bringing this level of detail to you, and hitting that subscribe button is just the best way to stay in the loop for every single breakdown.
It is an unparalleled time to be analyzing the sport.
It really is.
I mean, the caliber of play is one thing, but the sheer level of psychological and tactical warfare happening in the coaching boxes, that is what makes this current era so rich for discussion.
Which brings us perfectly to our mission for today's deep dive. We are working through a fascinating stack of sources today.
Lots of great stuff.
Yeah, primarily anchored by a hot-off-the-press article from Rugby Pass.
Done by Josh Razy.
Right, by Josh Razy. The central focus of the piece is France's squad selection for their highly anticipated Six Nations Round 4 clash.
Against Scotland.
Against Scotland, yes, up at Murrayfield. We are looking at French head coach Galthie's incredibly ruthless strategy of basically reverting to the exact starting 15 that completely dismantled Ireland in the opening round.
It is a massive statement of intent from Galthie.
It really is.
And this deep dive is going to look closely at the mechanics of that specific decision. It's a highly positive, deeply analytical move on his part.
Yeah.
He is looking at a squad that swept Ireland aside, which, let's be honest, is a Herculean task in modern rugby.
Oh, absolutely.
And he is essentially saying that now that his most crucial weapons are fully fit, he is deploying them in the exact same formation. It speaks volumes about his confidence in that specific combination of players to execute under immense pressure away from home.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because when you look at the backline changes alone, there is just so much to digest.
There really is.
We are seeing the return of a star-studded midfield trio, specifically the Bordeaux Boys connection.
Right.
We are talking about Mathieu Jalabert, Yoram Moefana, and Nicolas Deporter all returning to the starting lineup.
All three of them.
Yeah, but when we talk about a club connection at the international level, we aren't just talking about guys who happen to share a locker room during the domestic season, are we?
No, not at all.
So what is the actual on-field advantage here?
What's fascinating here is the micro-timing that comes with that level of familiarity.
Right, micro-timing.
In international rugby, defensive lines rush up so incredibly fast. You don't have time to look, assess, and then pass.
You get smashed.
Exactly. You have to operate purely on instinct. Because Jalabert, Moefana, and Deporter train together every single day at Bordeaux. Moefana knows exactly when Jalabert is going to release the ball without even needing to make eye contact.
That is wild.
It is. Deporter knows exactly which cutting line to run based on a slight drop of Jalabert's shoulder. That telepathic understanding is invaluable, especially against a team like Scotland that will try to disrupt their rhythm early on.
That makes a lot of sense, especially considering the context of their absence. I mean, this trio missed the 33-8 victory over Italy in round 3.
Right.
And they missed the round 2 win over Wales. But it wasn't due to form. It was purely due to injury.
Purely injury, yes.
Which brings me to a question about squad cohesion. When they went down, Galthie brought in the POW duo.
Fabien Brauboiry and Emily Ngayatin.
Yes, those two. They stepped up as deputies and played brilliantly. So doesn't dropping players who just perform flawlessly risk upsetting the rhythm of the team?
That is the eternal coaching dilemma.
Right.
But it highlights the sheer depth and the established hierarchy of this French squad. Brauboiry and Ngayatin did exactly what was asked of them.
They held the line.
They held the defensive line, they executed the exit strategies, and they kept the French momentum moving forward. But their attacking profiles are slightly different.
Okay, how so?
Well, Galthie is operating on a strict tactical blueprint. The POW deputies are fantastic, but against the specific defensive structure that Gregor Townsend employs for Scotland, Galthie clearly believes the Bordeaux trio offers the exact key to unlock that specific door.
Ah, I see.
The moment the primary weapons are healthy, the deputies step aside. It's not a demotion. It's just a rotation based on tactical necessity.
I want to shift our focus from the midfield maestros to the forward pack.
Let's do it.
Because that is where the physical tone of this match is going to be set. Looking at the team sheet, I see Charles Ollivon and Mikkel Giard returning to the starting 15.
A massive boost.
Yeah, I remember them looking incredibly dangerous against Ireland. They famously linked up for that brilliant try at the Stade de France.
Unbelievable try.
But what makes them the right choice specifically for the Scottish pack today?
It comes down to a very specific blend of mobility and dark arts grunt work.
Go-karts, I like that.
Giard is a master of doing the unseen labor in the rucks. He is incredibly efficient at clearing out defensive bodies and securing the ball.
Right.
What that does is create lightning-quick recycled ball for the scrum half.
And then Ollivon capitalizes.
Exactly. When you have that quick ball, a highly mobile, athletic flanker like Ollivon can exploit the fractured defensive edges before the opposition even has time to reset.
So it's about speed.
Galthie knows that if you want to silence the Murrayfield crowd, you have to win the race to the breakdown. The Ollivon-Giard axis gives them the best statistical chance of doing that.
That brings up something really compelling about the forwards they aren't starting. You've talked about who is on the pitch, but the bench strategy seems almost terrifying.
It really is.
We are talking about Toulouse's massive second row pairing, Thibaut Flamant and Emmanuel Mifou.
Huge players.
Literally huge. They started against Italy, but for this Scotland clash, they're in the replacements. It's like keeping a sledgehammer in your toolbox until the final 20 minutes of a demolition job.
That is the perfect analogy for it. Having two players of that immense size, raw power, and proven international quality waiting in the wings. It is an absolute luxury that very few nations possess.
Yeah.
Most international coaches would build their entire 80-minute forward strategy around a pairing, like Flamant and Mifou.
Right. Imagine you are a Scottish forward. You have been wrestling with a highly mobile, aggressive French pack for 60 minutes. Your legs are heavy, your lungs are burning, the game is hanging in the balance, and you look over to the sideline.
And there they are.
Exactly. You see Flamant and Mifou taking off their tracksuits. The psychological impact of that alone has to be massive.
It is entirely demoralizing for an opponent.
Yeah.
Galthie is keeping them in reserve to unleash them precisely when the game opens up and fatigue sets in.
It's so smart.
It allows France to completely change the physical profile of their pack without losing a single ounce of quality. It is a masterclass in exploiting the modern game's reliance on the 23-man squad rather than just the starting 15.
But again, this highlights the incredibly ruthless nature of international rugby. Look at Galthie.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
The man makes his debut against Italy. He doesn't just play, he actually scores a try on his debut.
A dream debut.
That is the dream scenario for any professional rugby player. And yet, what happens the next week? With the return of the established stars, Dréan isn't just benched. He is entirely out of the squad.
Right.
Meanwhile, Thomas Ramos, who is so incredibly versatile, shifts back to his natural home at fullback to accommodate the returning players. How does Galthie manage the human element of that? Sending a guy home who just scored on his debut seems brutal.
It does seem brutal from the outside, but inside the camp, it illustrates a highly functional, egoless environment.
Egoless, really.
Yeah, it is the reality of playing for a Tier 1 nation during a golden era. Galthie's communication with his players is famously direct. Dréan knows he didn't do anything wrong. He executed perfectly.
So it's just about the opponent.
Exactly. The tactical blueprint to dismantle Scotland requires a different set of puzzle pieces. Galthie doesn't select teams as a reward for past performance. He selects specific combinations to solve specific future problems.
That's a great way to put it.
Everyone in that locker room understands that the collective goal overrides any individual milestone.
This feels like a great moment to take a quick breath and check in with you, the listener. We've been breaking down this incredible revolving door of world-class talent in the French camp, and we really want to hear your thoughts and opinions on these lineup changes.
We read all of them.
We do. When you look at the sheer quality of players being rotated in and out, do you think Fabien Galthie currently has the best squad depth in the entire world?
It's a huge debate right now.
Jump into the comments wherever you are listening and let us know your take. And while you are there, please remember to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. It is the best way to ensure you never miss out on these tactical deep dives, and your support allows us to keep analyzing the game we love.
I will be fascinated to read the listener comments on that depth question. The strategy surrounding the replacement players is arguably just as compelling as the starting lineup itself.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the specific milestones waiting on that replacements list. We just talked about the giant forwards, but there is also Demba Bamba.
Yes.
He is poised to make his very first appearance of this year's championship coming off the bench. And then you have a player like Baptiste Serin.
The veteran scrum-half, yes.
Exactly. If Serin comes off the bench, he will hit a massive milestone, his 50th cap for France.
That is a huge achievement.
That isn't just a number. That adds a huge emotional charge to this fixture. You have a squad that is this potent mix of returning superstars, giant forwards waiting to cause havoc, and a beloved veteran looking to make his 50th appearance.
It's quite the cocktail.
How does that emotional undercurrent affect the tactical execution on the pitch?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, all of this preparation, all of this ruthless squad rotation, and all of that emotional motivation is pointing toward one highly specific, very dangerous threat.
Scotland.
And that is Gregor Townsend's Scotland at Murrayfield. The emotional milestones, like Serin's 50th cap, are the glue that holds a squad together when they're traveling into a hostile environment. They play for each other.
And they need to, because France hasn't just been winning this year, they have been untouchable. The stats from our sources show that no side has been able to get within 20 points of the French juggernaut so far in the championship.
It's staggering.
Maintaining a 20-point margin in the Six Nations is staggering. But why is this specific matchup universally viewed as their sternest test yet?
Because Murrayfield is a fortress, and this Scottish side is riding a massive wave of momentum and belief. They come into this round with back-to-back Six Nations wins over England and Wales.
That's no small feat.
They have proven definitively that they can take down the traditional powerhouses of the sport. Now, the articles do note that Scotland has been hampered by some key injuries over the past month.
Right.
Which means Gregor Townsend has had to do his own shuffling. But despite those injury hurdles, their tactical threat is immense.
What specifically makes that Scottish tactical threat so difficult to defend against, even for a team as dominant as France?
It is their attacking structure. Scotland plays with a level of invention and pace that is incredibly difficult to read.
Because they play so flat.
Yes, and if they manage to secure a quick ball from the rucks, their backline utilizes a variety of complex strike plays and decoy runners that can unsettle even the most organized defense. Townsend empowers his players to look for space rather than just contact.
So it really is a high-stakes chess match. Townsend has to figure out a way to break down the exact French 15 that started the championship in such terrifying dominant style. Galthie is effectively laying his cards on the table, saying, I dare you to stop the team that broke Ireland.
A huge challenge.
Meanwhile, Townsend is analyzing hours of tape, looking for the microscopic cracks in that French armor.
That tension is the essence of why this matchup is so highly anticipated by the rugby world. You have Scotland holding the home field advantage, fueled by the confidence of back-to-back rivalry wins, going up against a French side with returning firepower and a point to prove about their own relentless consistency.
It's going to be electric.
It is a brilliant clash of tactical philosophies.
So what does this all mean? We've drilled down into the specific tactics, the returning French players, the sledgehammer bench, and the unique Scottish threat. But let's pull the lens back a little bit to look at the wider rugby landscape. To really round out our understanding of where the sport is right now, we have to look at how other nations are viewing this level of French dominance. When you look at the trending conversations surrounding these matches in our sources, there is a fierce global debate happening right now.
There absolutely is, and interestingly, a lot of it centers right on the heartbeat of the French team, their captain, Antoine Dupont.
Yes. Dupont is leading this French charge, and his individual brilliance is undeniable. But across the rugby world, and especially originating from the Irish camp, there is this intense, ongoing debate.
Comparing him to Jamison Gibson Park.
Right, comparing Dupont to Ireland's Gibson Park for the title of the game's premier scrum-half. Our sources highlight that Ireland head coach Andy Farrell recently weighed in, making a point to say he would trust the hard-as-nails Gibson Park to protect his house against intruders.
It's a remarkably colorful quote from Farrell.
It is.
But it illustrates the deep respect these players command and the differing philosophies of the game. You have analysts and fans passionately arguing the merits of both.
Where do you think the line is drawn?
Well, you have the people who favor Dupont's sheer instinctive magic and ability to break a game wide open from nothing.
Right.
On the other side, you have those pointing to Gibson Park's high-tempo, system-driven efficiency that keeps the Irish machine humming.
It really highlights how the number 9 jersey dictates the entire identity of a modern international team.
It really does.
And looking at the other trending articles in our stack, you can see how all the major global powerhouses are scrambling to adapt, evolve, and future-proof themselves to keep pace with the standard France is setting.
Everyone is chasing them.
For example, we see reports detailing Rassie Erasmus and his master plan for the Springboks.
Yes. Erasmus is focusing heavily on structural development. He is looking at long-term pathways, accelerating the progress of youth through the domestic systems to ensure South Africa has sustained success rather than just cyclical peaks.
And there are even wilder narratives out there. Some of the speculative pieces floating around our sources right now are suggesting rumors like Dave Rennie potentially taking over the All Blacks.
That is a wild one.
Yeah, to bring back a specific breakdown, brutality, and counter-attacking verve to the New Zealand game model. Now, whether there is any truth to a rumor like that, given his Wallabies history, it shows how desperate the rugby ecosystem is to find an answer to the current dominant powers.
It's an absolute arms race of coaching intelligence.
Arms race is the perfect term for it. And tying this all together, when you look at what Galthie is doing with France, you are looking at the ultimate standard of that arms race.
Definitely.
In an era where a genius like Erasmus is having to aggressively future-proof South Africa, and where the media is frantically theorizing about how the All Blacks can rebuild their aura, France is already executing everything flawlessly.
They aren't just building for the future. They are dominating the present while seamlessly integrating new talent.
Precisely. Their ability to swap out world-class talent based purely on tactical needs. Bringing in the Bordeaux midfield because of their micro-timing, dropping a debutant try-scorer without fracturing locker room morale, and benching a Toulouse giant just for the psychological impact late in the game.
All while maintaining a 20-point dominance over Tier 1 opponents.
It is nothing short of a masterclass. They aren't just winning matches, they are actively dictating the terms of how international rugby is supposed to be played.
It is genuinely breathtaking to watch it unfold week after week. You can literally see Galthie flexing the depth chart in real time.
It sends a chilling message, not just to Scotland, but to Ireland, to the Springboks, and to the All Blacks. It's Galthie laying down a royal flush and challenging the rest of the world to match it.
He set the bar.
Well, as we bring this deep dive to a close, we want to invite you, the listener, one last time to jump into the comments and share your perspective.
We want to know what you think.
Can Gregor Townsend's Scotland utilize that Murrayfield magic and quick ball invention to halt this incredible French momentum? Or will the sheer firepower of France's returning stars and that sledgehammer bench just be too much for them to handle?
It's going to be a fascinating watch.
Let us know your predictions, and if you enjoyed this level of tactical breakdown, please make sure to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. It is the absolute best way to ensure you catch every single deep dive we release.
This raises an important question, something for you to mull over as we wrap up today's analysis. If a national team can comfortably drop a player who just scored on his debut entirely from the squad and intentionally bench a world-class second row purely for late-game tactical impact, is the true battle for international rugby supremacy no longer about who has the best starting 15, but rather who has the most impenetrable, cohesive squad of 30.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.